So today our guest is the beautiful Anita Stroudmire, and she is going to be sharing part of her unlearning. So I'm just going to read through her bio so that we know exactly who this fantastic woman is before I bring her on to the podcast. Anita Stroudmire is a licensed professional therapist and love mentor who founded Better Love Movement, an online coaching business that helps women of all ages master their feminine power and create the relationships they want. She also has a private counseling practice in Virginia, Growth Therapy Center, that focuses on couples counseling and relationship issues for singles. Anita is passionate about all things love and relationships, as she knows that the quality of our lives are that much richer when our personal relationships are healthy and fulfilling. She creates online courses, is the author of the book Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you. Speaker and host of the podcast Better Love Movement. You can listen to a podcast on Better Love on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Her website is www.betterlovemovement.com. Her website is www.growththerapycenter.com. And of course, you can find her at Instagram at Better Love Movement, Facebook, Better Love Movement, LinkedIn, Anita Stroudmire. We're going to welcome her now onto today's show. Today, Anita is going to be talking to us really about her journey of unlearning masculine energy. I'm really excited about this particular conversation because you know that we love talking about masculine, feminine energy here. And as you know, Anita, like me, comes from the school of the Pat Allen Academy, yes, where we've been able to glean a lot of wisdom. And you know, Anita tells me that she knows her personally, so I'm going to have to get Dr. Pat Allen. But yes, Anita, welcome to the Black Swan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad you were able to come. Now, Anita, tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do. How did you become the woman that you are? How did Better Love Movement come to be? I know you're a therapist, but tell us, how did Better Love Movement come out of that? What's the story?
So my name is Anita Stroudmire. I am by trade a licensed professional therapist. I specialize in working with women, and also I am a very well-trained couples therapist. That's something I'm very passionate about. I am a Gottman-trained couples therapist. I have a private practice here in Richmond, Virginia. But I started a platform about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now. I started a platform called Better Love Movement because of what I was seeing out here in the world, the problems that people were encountering. And most of those problems were based around relationships. And one of the things that I've always shared with people is that is the class, that's the course that every human being on the planet must be willing to take. Right. Because the thing they're going to experience from birth till death is relationship. Absolutely. That's how important it is. Relationship is critical to our happiness and our well-being and everything else in our life. So I started this platform because I know for me, you know, that was a pain point. That's oftentimes how our journey begins, is we have our own pain points. Yeah. And I started this platform trying to create a movement. That was the whole intention, to get people to join this movement for better love.
Yeah. I love it. I love. And I love the fact that it's a movement, and I can see it. I can see it. Got that sort of movement. I love your energy too. You're just so focused. I'm
Thank
like,
you.
one day when I grow up, I'm going to be like Anita.
Yeah,
You're so consistent. You're so focused. You know, you can see a winner a mile away.
Yep.
So Anita, you know, when I asked you, what is it that was your massive unlearning? I'm sure you could have come up with 1,000,001 things because we're always unlearning stuff. And I heard somewhere that, you know, the best educated people in the world are the ones that are able to let go and unlearn some really stuff that they've been programmed to think. And so that's why I started this Unlearning series, because before we build a foundation on anything, we have to sometimes tear things down so that we can move out with a clean slate. So you came back to me and you said to me, you know what, I want to talk about how I had to unlearn my masculine journey. And you mentioned, you know, chasing men and all the stuff. I was like, what, Anita? Our gentle, beautiful, fragile Anita. How good. So I want to hear that story. And I know that the Black Swans want to hear the story. And what was the pivot for you? What was the moment where you thought, you know what, I'm ready to change? Tell us your story.
Right. So really, you know, it was born, this masculine tendency was born out of the abandonment that I felt from my father. That's really what sparked that, okay, I've got to make things happen. I've got to control things and I've got to make things happen because this thing happened to me that was completely out of my control. Yeah. This man, you know, wasn't very emotionally available to me. He and my mother divorced. And there was this abandonment that I felt that I could not quite get him in my grasp. Yeah. So I would hold my hand open every now and again. He would land, but then I would clamp it shut and he would escape it. And it was so frustrating. I was like, okay, well, I just need to control things. I just need to be more aggressive, more assertive. And that's really what began it. Yeah. And so my dad, you know, he's a great man. He's given me a lot of wonderful, wonderful things in my life. And he is very masculine, but he is what I would consider a wounded masculine man. Right. He was abandoned by his mother. And that kind of set him on the trajectory of, you know, I'm never going to let a woman get but so close. I'm never going to enter into a real relationship with a woman. So he had his own pain, and I have developed great compassion over these years about that pain. Yeah. However, he has also passed down to me, you know, this abandonment wound of I can't quite get close to him. Yeah. So that's kind of the journey that's what started me on this masculine journey. Oh. And when I was younger, I truly believe that if I went up to the man first, if I called him first, if I, you know, asked him out, you know, okay, I'm in control of this. I can't be but so hurt because I'm in control of this. And I did that for many years. I've strong-armed men into proposing, you know, and I'm thinking that, you know, I'm out here winning, but I'm really not winning. I'm not winning because there's like a deep insecurity in me. Like, how do I know this man is truly devoted to me? Because I kind of strong-armed him into this. Like, does he really want to? So I started to, and definitely after my divorce. Yeah. After my divorce, that was in 2001. Oh my gosh. 2001, I went through a divorce, had 3 children from that marriage. And after 5 years of being invisible to men, because I had my healing to do, I was very angry. My dream had blown up. You know, the dream that I had for myself and my family had blown up. I was very angry, very frustrated. And again, I went back to this idea of how could this happen when I thought I was in control of everything? Like something that I couldn't control happened. And I was very angry about that. So I had a lot of healing work to do. And one of the things that I so desperately wanted to return to was my divine feminine essence. Like I am naturally very feminine. I was going against that by trying to control everything and go up to men and ask them out and pay for dates. And, you know, I'm thinking,
you're that girl.
I'm thinking I'm in control. Yeah, it's crazy. I look back on it and I'm like, oh, it was
Oh,
What was I thinking?
no. The woman I see now and who you were, they're like two different women.
They are.
As you said that, and I was having a bit of a giggle about strong arming men. I know that I had a bit of a giggle because, you know, at least for you, it was very overt. You know, your need to control was very overt, and I get that. You know, I was more of a covert controller. I was covert. You know, same thing, just worked a bit differently. And I did find strong arm a lot of men. But, you know, here's where I'm going with this is a lot of our viewers watching are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. What allowed you to be conscious? What is it that made you think, hang on? Because that self-awareness is quite a lot. Did that come pre-healing or after healing? Because many of us don't know that we're doing it. And it usually takes a third party to say, hey, but it sounds like you came to this realization. How did that happen for you?
I did. So through therapy, because I had entered into therapy. And I too believe, kind of like you, I'm just a naturally accountable person. And so I knew that I had to play a part. I had dated all these men and married this man, but the person who was the same in all of those relationships was Anita.
Yeah.
So I had to sit down. I had to look at myself and how I was doing things. And that's when, you know, I had this aha moment. Like, and then what was so crazy is I'm like, that's not even me. Like, that's not even who I am or want to be. Yeah. It's a protective thing that I'm doing. Yeah. You know, just like I would leave a relationship before the man dumped me. Like, it was crazy. I was like, nope, I'm just gonna, it's crazy. It was crazy. So I was like, yeah, you got some stuff. You got some stuff.
Yeah. Actually, it's embarrassing because you're listening to telling my story, right?
Okay.
You know, let's get out of there before it's too late.
Yep.
And, you know, that was, and I love, one of the things I love about you, I watch whenever I get an opportunity, I watch, I observe. And I don't follow a lot of people, to be honest, and not because I'm a snob, but I just like to keep my feet clean. And one of the reasons I love about you is your self-accountability and how you hold the women in your community accountable and the men.
Yeah.
Love that. And, you know, I really believe that if we could mirror, if everyone watching this today could mirror that sense of self-accountability, that's hard for me. But I love that you said something as well as you were in therapy. And I think that a lot of us sit back and think, you know, yeah, I'm going to watch that video. I get it. And I'm going to work on myself. Fantastic. But there's nothing that can replace co-regulating, right?
Yep.
And I'm not sure if it's because you're already a therapist yourself, but the idea that you even thought, right, because I had to go to therapy at some point too. I mean, I was like, therapy, what are you talking about? Pray about it. Pray about it.
Yep.
Really, therapy. What part has therapy played on your journey?
So this was before I became a therapist.
Wow.
I think this was what catapulted me into that realm. So I am also a person of faith like you. And I've told this story plenty of times, people who know my platform. My grandmother, a very devoted, you know, loving Christian woman. I mean, she is God's daughter for sure. She prophesied over my life when I was 9 years old. And she told me the two things that I would be in this life. And really it was three things, but she, you know, she said, oh, you know, I'm not going to include that. The two vocations that you will have is you will be a teacher and you will be a counselor. Wow. And so my first job was as a teacher. I was an elementary school teacher for about 11 years. And then I got married and I stayed at home with my children for 12 years. I was a stay-at-home wife and mother. And then I became a counselor.
Yeah.
So she prophesied that over my life. She saw the gifts within me and she knew I had a love for children. That was the other thing. She said, you're going to be a mother. You're going to be a great mother. But your vocations will be teacher and counselor. And that is exactly how my life has played out. So therapy journey I was on, it definitely awakened that prophecy in me. I said, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to help people. Yeah. And so that's when I went back to school. I got licensed and I became a therapist. But yes, it is an honor. I tell people I love my job so much because it's an honor to hold space. It's an honor to be a part of a person's healing. It's so incredibly like, oh, I just feel honored. Right. Every time I'm just like, thank you so much. I'm just honored to, be a part of this because, I know the part it played in my life.
Absolutely.
That I had to be accountable. I had to show up every 2 weeks. I had to kind of talk about the homework that I did, the reflections, the prayer, the meditations. I was working through some Christian journaling and devotions. But I did that for about a year of just every other week, right on schedule. And one of the things that my therapist told me all those years ago, and I actually tell the woman that I coach and that I counsel, she said, okay, well, the next big step is you got to get back out there.
Whoa.
Like the way to learn about relationships is to be in relationships.
Yeah.
And that's scary. That's scary. A lot of women feel very empowered and good when they're like, yeah, Anita, I got it. I know the lessons. I was like, all right, get on out there and date. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah. That's what, going back out there. Go on and get triggered.
Yeah.
Go on and let somebody say something. We got to see how much work you've done.
Now tell me, Anita, 2 questions really. When were you able to say, okay, that's masculine? So you knew the pop worked through the control, but when were you really able to say, okay, that's masculine and I can actually isolate it and say that's masculine? And I'm going to ask you another question about the Anita, the recovering feminine woman, and how she started dating for the first time. But let's ask the first one.
But you can feel it. Like you can feel it in your body.
Yeah.
When I am in I'm tense. I'm like, I'm very tense. Yeah. I can feel it in my body. Yeah. And it doesn't feel good. When I am in that feminine flow, I feel amazing. Like I am energized out of this world. Other people can see it. Yeah. They're like, oh, wow, you got the glow. Like you're just energized. I'm smiling. I'm relaxed and I'm not overthinking. I'm not in my head. I am but you can feel it in your body. And then you can see how other people respond to you in that energy. And it's not cute. It's not cute.
So now that you knew, okay, well, I know what I am. And it takes a while to really learn the switch and on. Because sometimes we have to be in that masculine energy. We need to get things done.
Right. That's right.
So, and what you're saying is really quite advanced for a lot of people, because that even knowing how it feels in your body, a lot of women don't. Yeah. Right. Certainly my practice, I'm like, getting a woman to be in her body and even know what that feels like, it's like, so for you to have come to that point where you're like, I feel it. I feel that. So now that you were feeling a little bit more feminine and you'd found yourself, how was that journey? Because it must have been really scary to wait, to attract instead of going for it. What did you do? What was the first kind of move from you?
It was basically focusing on myself and peeling my energy off of the man. Like that's how I live now. It's not about him. It's not about what he says, what he does. It's about me. Like I'm always with me, wondering when I'm sitting across from a man, how do I feel? How does this interaction make me feel in my body, in my heart, in my throat, in my chest? Because when I'm in that masculine thinking head energy, my chest is tight, my throat is tight. I even notice it in my throat and my chest. And I'm like, this doesn't feel good. But when I'm in that feminine flow, I'm focused on myself. I'm focused on how I feel, how this man, makes me feel in my body. But I tell so many women that you're so outwardly focused. And I need you to stay with yourself. I need you to ask yourself how you feel about him instead of, well, what does he think about me? How does he feel about me? See, we're outward and we need to go inward.
100%. So when you started dating, you were no longer approaching men, I'm assuming. Just kind of show up somewhere and think, okay, what do I do now? So how did that all unfold for you? How did you, it must be awkward if you're not in control anymore. So how did that play out?
But I had to stay with myself. And so I guess what I focused on? I focused on, having fun. Yeah. I focused on, just being. Like, how does it feel to be out in this environment where there are other men? How do I feel? Do I feel sexy? Do I feel confident? So I really focused on me.
Yeah.
And because I was like, yeah, I feel great. I feel confident tonight. I want to have fun. You know, I want to hang out with my friends, or I want to, you know, go out and bowl, or I want to, you know, whatever that activity was. And that is the energy. That's the secret sauce that men are just, they are magnetically attracted to, because I'm not coming in with this, who's in here? Oh, who can I talk to? Like, that wasn't my energy at all. I'm like, I am here. I've shown up. You know, I'm here to have fun. Yes. Oh, I'm here to be seen. You know, that was kind of the energy. Yeah. And guess what? I was seen. Like, people could see me.
Yeah.
People were like, who's that?
Looking you, and you were like, giving it the lean back and having a conversation. I bet that was so much easier than having to hunt down a man.
So much. And then the type of men that I attracted, it was a complete 180. Complete 180. Men who wanted to show up for me, men who wanted to pay, men who wanted to plan dates. I had never experienced that. A man planning the entire date. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, but they were like, no, I know the date, I know the time, I know the place. Oh, and I even know what you might want to wear. I was like, this is fantastic. So I like it here.
What you're sharing with us today, because, you know, I can't say it enough. And I love that you're saying it, because I know sometimes we need to hear it from somebody else, because they get quite a honest one's voice, I'm sure. But what I love about what you're saying is when you started to attract, sitting your, then even the quality changed. It was about, you know, now I won't have a man, you know, because I think women who are used to being more overtly masculine are going to feel like, well, what am I supposed to just show up and sit down and just hope for the best? Because a lot of women feel that way when you tell them, look, sit in your feminine energy, be passive and attract. It's like, no, I'm just going to end up unapproached. But not only will you be approached, not only will you quality. The first thing that I really believe shows that you're in your feminine energy is the quality of men.
For sure. Yep.
And that lets you know, right, I'm in there. But I have to be honest, when I was taking my journey from masculine to feminine, it was very difficult. I was triggered all the time. I felt like I was almost giving away my personal power. It's only because I was still understanding, like, why can't I just say what I want to say the way I want to say it, you know?
Yeah.
I'll be quiet for now, but it's not fair, you know, or whatever, you know, I felt was required of me. Did you have any hard time unlearning this? What did you battle yourself? Or was it really just like, you know what, I'm done with that whole energy. I'm done. I'm ready to dive right in and be whatever I need to be. What was that like for you? What was the experience of unlearning this?
So the hardest part of the femininity journey was receiving. I was a toxic giver. That's what I call it, a toxic giver.
Yeah.
Right? I was the one giving and doing. And again, that's a form of control. And it felt odd to have a person give to me or do for me. And I still, on occasion, I just got back from a fabulous date in Atlanta. And I still, every now and again, I'm like, it feels so awkward to let this person give and do for me so much. I mean, just so much, just a fabulous date. But I was a toxic giver, and I would find myself out, and I would, especially if I was in a relationship. So I would remember something my partner had said, and I would say, oh, there it is. I can just pick that up and give it. But I said, no. We're not going to do that. You know, we're going to, you know, we can wait until, you know, Christmas rolls around or a birthday. But I was always in this space of giving and doing. That was the hardest thing for me to break. And like I said, it still will come up every now and again, this desire. And here's where it comes from. This is what I want ladies to understand. It comes from a place of proving you're worthy. Like this, I'm worthy. Look at my value and worth. I buy things, I give things, I do things. No, I'm worthy from being.
Yeah.
I showed up worthy.
Yeah.
And so many women need that message,
Yeah.
that there's no amount of giving or doing. So it's just like Christ's death to us. It was a free gift. And I have to keep reminding myself of that.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to earn it. It was, thank God it was free. It was free. So we gotta learn how to do that in other areas. Like, okay, I'm worthy just because I'm here. I showed up.
I love that. And thank you for opening up that little segue that I had no intention of going down.
Okay.
Thank you for opening that, because I really feel that, you know, for me, I had the same problem, resistance to receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Me, what came up was more, if I let you give to me, then what am I going to owe you?
Right.
Which is more about my giving. Because
Right.
what I was really doing was buying your love.
Right.
So when we think other people have an agenda, it's usually because we're kind of reflecting, you know, we're deflecting that and saying, you know what, if you pay for me, if you open the door for me and you treat me a certain kind of way, you're going to want something that I'm not ready to give you. And it occurred to me that no is fine if they ask for it. But at the time, it was more like this defensive protection thing. But I found for me, that was the hardest bit, that giving, that toxic.
Yep.
Right?
It is.
For me, it was, you know, really coming up, and this is worthiness. That worthiness.
Yep.
For me, it was, if I can't be worthy, I'm going to be useful. I'm going to be useful. And I see that so much in my practice. I'm sure you see it in yours. If I stop being useful, I become irrelevant.
Right.
And then we can go back to our childhood and realize that these were the patterns that were set for us. You know, useful. We had to be the useful one, otherwise we're ignored. Or, you know, I had abandonment. I had neglect. I was very ignored. My mom had 7 kids and everybody was busy. So, and I was the kid that really needed mommy and daddy. But I was left to it, you know, because and so I learned to show up. And, you know, people always think, oh, Chengi's an extrovert. I'm actually introverted. But the extrovert part, that was an adaptation, because my family is full of extroverts. Right. And I knew that I would disappear and die if I didn't show up. So I created the ego. And trust me, Anita, that alter ego. Yeah. Oh, she was exhausting. I was like this hyperactive person. Right. You know, because I had to be seen and I had to, you know, show up. But, you know, for me, that I didn't recognize it as that almost masculine energy. Me, I am important. You know, all of those things, instead of sitting back in my feminine and saying, well, I am because I'm worthy. I'm worthy because you know, the healing work, isn't it, of worthiness, this story about worthiness that we all carry, I think is fundamental. And for me, like you, it manifested in resistance. Care. And even now in my relationship, you know, or the relationships I've been in, I have to remind myself, receive. Right. Chengi, receive. Because I want to take care of you. I want to make sure you're okay. I want to make sure you have everything. Because even though it might not be giving as in physically master that piece, sometimes it's just, I want to listen to you. I want to care for you. And are you okay though, sweetheart? I'm like, I'm fine. So, you know? Right. Shut down. Like, don't, you know, you might see, you know. So one of the things I've learned, and I'm not sure if it's true for you, is I'm still healing. Still becoming feminine, and you know, and I feel like I'm always going to be on that journey in some way, shape, or form. How do you feel to master this thing that, look, Anita, I'm here, I'm in feminine behavior, or do you feel like it's still a journey for you?
So my ultimate goal is balance. That is my ultimate goal. And that's actually what I teach others, that I want them to develop a more balanced between the two energies, because as you stated, we're going to need that masculine energy to do the work that we do. Like, we have gifts and talents, and to bring those gifts and talents forward, we have to be focused and directed, and we have to initiate in our work. However, how I receive balance is in the relationships with males, with my male counterparts, or the men that I date or that I'm in relationship with. So that is something that just comes very naturally to me. When a male steps into the room, I lean back. and it's not work related. So if it's, you know, a male comes home, a male shows up for a date, you know, I'm automatically, it's like I've trained myself that up, you know, like I can lean back. He is here, and especially a man that I trust, I feel safe with. I'm like, guess what? I can hang up that, I call it my masculine coat. I take it off, I hang it up. I don't need to wear that masculine coat. He's just walked in. Thank you. And that's the masculine energy that I need. I need it to protect me, to provide for me. It is going to provide frame. It's going to provide structure. So this is how I tell women. It's like you're that beautiful piece of art and the man is the frame around it. I get to be appreciated for the beauty and everything else about me feminine, and the man is the frame around that art. So as soon as, you know, and even out in the world, if I'm just out and about and a man opens the door or a man says, hey, can I get that? Oh, thank you. Bless your heart. You know, it's just like, it's an automatic thing that I do. Now, if he is not there and I need to take the trash out, of course, I'm going to take the trash out. If I am teaching or I'm at work, yes, that's a part of what I do as a vocation. But when that is done, or when, you know, a male comes into my proximity, I just naturally, you know, kind of go into the little lamb, you know, and people notice it. They're like, yeah, we just saw, you know, that there's a part of you that softened, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love your story. I love the extremes in your story. I love the pivots in your story. And I think for all of us, really, what we can glean from your stories, at some point, there's enough pain to make you stop and say, okay, ready. And what I love about you is you were saying to us, look, I've mastered the switcheroo, right? I've mastered that shifting of energy, and that's where a lot of us, you know, still struggle. Some of us haven't even got to that feeling of being feminine, but you're clearly flourishing from this new journey. Well, you now, but this advanced journey. And I think when we teach other people, it cements in us who we need to be. So Anita, thank you so much for sharing your journey and how it has made you this incredible woman that we all love to follow. And I know all the Black Swans are going to be on your page.
Thank you.
Just tell us a little bit about where we can find you. I know you have written an amazing book, and you actually sent it to me, and it's actually on my stand.
Okay. Yes. And
so tell us about it.
For all of my single ladies, so the single ladies book is called Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you. So I have 2 books that I've written. The first one is for my single ladies, because that's where my heart lies, is it with women who are out here. They're not in committed relationships yet. They are learning how to choose a really good man. And I believe that for women, that really is the most important part. I find that women tend to do well when they're in their relationships. Where they really suck at is choosing a good man. So they will make a bad choice, but they'll try to really show up and kind of what I call outdo how they chose. But you can't. Like, if you haven't picked a good man, there's no amount of doing that's going to change that. So we have to learn how to choose well. That is the book that's out right now on Amazon. I do have a follow-up book for the ladies who are in relationships, committed relationships or marriages. It's called Do Well, A Feminine Woman's Guide to Relationship Success. So that's going to give you some tips if you are currently dating someone in a relationship or married. My platform of choice right now is Instagram. That's where all the fun is. That's where the IG lives and my posts, my reels. I had an amazing reel go viral, 4 million views. I was like shocked that happened. But yes, Instagram is my platform of choice. I do have a YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out as well. You can find me on Facebook. I think those are all my social media platforms.
Yes, and I'm going to make sure that they're in the description link below. Everybody,
Awesome.
check out all of the links. Anita's links will be there down below for you to go and find her. And I know you can get her book on Amazon, or can they get it on your website, or is it just on Amazon?
So as of November 10th, they can get it on my website, www.betterlovemovement.com. My website is being updated. There's all kinds of wonderful products and services in the store on my website. I do couples coaching. I do individual coaching for individuals. So head over to betterlovemovement.com and check that out as well.
And there you have it, ladies. Do go and do that thing. Let's go. And, you know, I love the idea of supporting one another, but you're really supporting yourself, because when you go and use these resources, you are supporting your journey. And of course, Anita will receive it as support, which she does need to continue this amazing work and to do this better love movement. I love it. I love the name. We all need better love. We definitely need better love. And let's become part of the movement. You know, I've always said the digital space is amazing because we don't have to belong to one community. We can really belong to a community where everybody thinks and feels the same way. So there's so much that Anita can share with you, pieces that perhaps I don't even know to share with you. There's so much to be had by, you know, reading her book and really getting some nuggets. I actually I have like this book sitting there, and I thought to myself, I want to read it and I want to share it with my community. You sent it to me a long while ago when it came out. And so I'm going to read it, and let's all go by and let's read it together, and let's all post something, and, you know, your favorite page, your favorite quote, and let's all rally and be part of the Better Love movement and keep sharing. So thank you so much for joining us, Anita. It's such a privilege to have you.
You are so welcome.
It's so funny. You meet somebody on Instagram, and you know, when we meet in person, I'm sure we will. It's going to feel like we know each other for forever. You know,
for sure.
It was such a pleasure. And I know that our listeners here at the Black Swan Life are going to really embrace what you are sharing with us today, and hopefully find the courage to begin their own feminine journey and unlearn some masculine imbalances, I guess. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you everybody soon on my next podcast. Take care of you. Bye now. Well done for coming to the end of this video. What I want to ask you is, what have you learned? What is your takeaway? And what are you going to start practicing right away? Those 3 things are how you are going to get the best out of every class here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Please put it in the comments so that we can all have a look. So I can have a look, the coaches can have a look, and I promise you, we read every comment. We may not be able to reply to every comment, but we read all of your comments, and we want to see how you are growing. And we will see you on the next video.